Minus x what? Oh, y'all don't like the fractions. All right. So I'm going to divide everything by the leading coefficient, right? I don't want a leading coefficient. It is easier if you, I know y'all don't like fractions, but if you leave them as fractions, it is a whole lot easier than if you try to do decimals here, okay? So I'm going to do x squared minus 1/2 x minus 3 over 2 equals 0. Everybody good? Just put everything over 2. All right. Is that a good C or a bad C? Bad C. Why is it a bad C? It's not even a perfect square. That's right. I don't have to check anything else. It's not a perfect square. I'm going to throw it away. It's what? I'm going to leave some holes. Go okay? Good C. How do I find it? I take B and I cut it in half. But since it's already a fraction, I'm going to do a half times B and square it. That's the same thing, right? Do we all agree? Dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by half. Are y'all okay with that? So now what I'm going to do is half of B, so half of a half, and then I'm going to square it. Delaney, that was a terrible face. So half times a half is a fourth, and a fourth squared, 1/16. I know it looks bad, but trust me, it's better than the decimal, and you'll see why in a minute. All right, it goes in this hole and this one. All right, so half of this, half of a half is what? 1/4. If you take a half a pizza and you cut it in half again, you got a fourth of a pizza, right? Then if you square that, what's a fourth squared? So 1/4 times 1/4. There's where I came up with it. Half of the middle squared. Okay? All right, now factor the left. Remember when we factored, the square root of the first was the square root of x squared. X. The first sign, and what's the square root of the last one? 1/4. When we do the square root of a fraction, we do the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom. Is everybody okay? This is the hardest part to me. So I would take out my calculator. The fractions are hard. The fractions are a lot harder whenever it's not an even. Yeah? No, don't leave it blank. I haven't graded y'all's quizzes yet, by the way. Don't. Even now, after I've showed you how to do it? Oh. Okay, we need to practice. We need to practice. Is it because of the fractions? You'll probably, on your test, you'll have 2, 1 fraction, 1 non-fraction. Probably same on a quiz. Y'all contain your excitement, please. Killing me. All right. I would do this on my calculator. Remember, fractions go in parentheses. I would do 3 divided by 2 plus 1 divided by 16 on my calculator. And then how do you put it back in a fraction? Math enter, enter. When you add those two fractions, what do you get? What do you notice about both 25 and 16? They're perfect squares. That's why I told you this, keeping the fraction would be easier in the end. Because now whenever I solve, I square root. What's the square root of 25 over 16? 5 over 4, plus or minus. So x minus a fourth equals 5 over 4, and x minus a fourth equals negative 5 over 4. They both have the same denominator whenever I add this fraction, so that's going to make it a lot easier for me as I add. So x equals 6 over 4, which is the same thing as 3 halves. There's one answer. And x equals negative 4 over 4, which is negative 1. There's your other answer. I know. It's strange. All right. Call out the other one you wanted. What was it, 11? Equals what? No leading coefficient, so I'm good there, right? Good C, bad C. Bad C. Then we wouldn't be completing the square. We'd be able to just factor and solve. All right, x squared plus 2x, leave a hole. Fine. Good C, half of the middle squared. So half of 2 squared. Yes, that's what goes in the blanks. Here and here.
Add, you just do lines like that, and then you do the little cheat code.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's why I messed up every time.
On your own cheat code?
Yeah,
oh no. You just go ahead, yes, and factor in. Yep. That's what you're doing anyway every time. But yes, I'll do one that is already. Are there any sheets on that radiator back there from what we did yesterday? No. Where did we put the extra? I'm gonna have to run you some. Do what? I felt like you were too. Okay. There's a step sheet for what we're doing. We just did the odds on that one. All right. How does it factor? Left side, what's it factor? Square root of the first, x, first sign, square root of the last, negative 36. Now what? Square root. Square root. What's the square root of negative 36? There y'all go. Don't forget the I because it's a negative under there. Don't forget the plus or minus. Now, because I can't combine it with anything else, I can write this one as x equals plus or I don't have to split it into 2. I can write it that way. The more proper way would be to put the whole number in front and follow it with the imaginary, but either one is acceptable. It does not become 5i though. You can't combine it. Yes, no, maybe so. Oh, gotcha. That's the answer. Straight up. Straight up now, tell me. Huh? Is that what Photomath said?
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's what you said. Well, you're not wrong that there's no real number. But you got to. But you do have to include the imaginary. What else on your homework? Give me another one. Okay. Oh yeah, that's why you're just odds.
We only did odds. Numbers CAs or CA.
2?
I don't know.
Just do 1?
Don't do 1. Don't do 1.
12. What should I do first? Why would I probably not move the 56? It's not that's exactly right. If I move it and put it over here, it's still not a perfect square. It's never going to square dance. So I'm probably just going to leave it over there because essentially my bad C's already been moved. Yeah. It makes a perfect square trinomial. The product, multiply the square roots of the ends and double them. Oh, yeah. Oh, calculator. I thought you said paper. All right. So I need a good C. How do I find a good C? That's exactly right. I don't have my holes here because I didn't move the C, but I'm still going to add it here and here. Okay. So this is going to be 9 squared, which is 81. Yes, Charlie. The equation to find a good C, that cheat code Hank was talking about yesterday, a good C, we take the middle, the B, the number in front and the middle, and we divide it by 2 and we square it. That's always the formula. That's always what you're going to do. Yeah. You always plus it. Always plus it. That was what it was.
Got that Friday. Yeah, dude, I had a bunch of pictures.
Does that make sense though, Charlie? Is that, and then, okay. And then I always add it. All right, so I'm going to plus 81 plus 81. Is everybody okay? Because I need it on the left, I also have to put it on the right. All right, so the left side, the square root of the first sign, and the square root of the last squared. What's negative 56 plus 81? Oh, that's convenient. These should be a little bit easier for you than all the fractions and everything else. I tried to kind of go backwards because y'all were, maybe we can go backwards a little bit and then we'll hit some more fractions. Let's make them get the hang of it before we throw some hard ones in there. All right, now what? Square root, square root, square root. What's the square root of 25? Plus or minus. So now I split up into my two answers, right? Because this says b plus 9 could be 5, or b plus 9 could be negative 5. Subtract 9, negative 4. Subtract 9, negative 14. Two answers.
We're doing the hardest one first.
Well, they picked which one.